Good afternoon. I hereby call this agenda review meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and notice of this meeting was posted as required by Texas Open Meeting Act. All board members are in attendance today. And today all items on the agenda are for discussions only. No voting will take place at this meeting. Thank you for joining us, and I ask to please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. This portion of meeting is a public comment, and we have not received any requests to address the board. However, anyone is interested to address the board in the future, the instructions how to sign are in it's with the board meetings notice. Okay. Now, we're at consent agenda. This portion of meeting will discuss items from the consent agenda. No action will be taken on these items. Board meeting minutes from October 2023. Anybody has any comments or suggestions? Okay. We move to business office report. I believe Ms. Lisa is not here. And a right-hand person will be responsible.
Wendy.
Thank you. I'm going to first start with the budget amendments on page 21. The first one is to pay for the truancy officers. We're just moving the money from function 31 to function 32 is where it was supposed to be. The second one is for radios and equipment that we had pulled out last year that we are requesting the funds be put back into this year's budget.
Is this the item B?
Item B, yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Item C is we organized the teaching and learning department, and so we're moving funds from function 31 to function 21 to pay for their staff restructuring. Item D is for donations that we've received. So those funds go into the budget so they can purchase the items that were for those things. Item E is the athletics facilities rental. These are money we've received for rent that we're putting into their budget. And item F is to pay for a new serving line for Margie Chumley. That is one of the items that I will be talking about later on. And then G is the police vehicle that needs to be replaced for nutrition. Okay. The next item is donations, and that's on page 26.
I had a quick question on that, to increase support of food services. Is that a vehicle to deliver the food to the schools? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Donations for Donia Early Childhood Center received quite a few donations from Kroger, Hugh Perez Painting Company, Mark Clark for Farms Bureau, Raising Cane's, A&P Inflatable, J&L Granite, and Burrs Overhead Doors. Athletics Department got a donation from Clement Concepts for the boys basketball. The Nacogdoches School District received restaurant gift cards from
Forklift.
Canton Forklift for the explosion event that we had a few weeks ago. The Dragonette Drill Team got a donation from NEPCO, and the high school band got donations from Stephen F. Austin University Music Department.
I hate to show my ignorance, but is Phi Beta Ruta really for real? That is the funniest name I've ever heard.
The music fraternity and sororities are,
But branching out?
yes.
Okay.
It might not be typed up correctly. I do know a lot of these.
Okay,
so-
good old Phi Beta Ruta.
Yes. And that was for band supplies. Next is our investment report, and we earned a total of,
Excuse me, I have another question.
okay, sorry.
I'm just, who can answer this, I'm not sure, but how critical is it for us for these donations that we get for our district? Because it seems like, where would we get the money if we didn't have the money to do this stuff? So is that pretty critical to get donations like this for our district?
Absolutely. Actually, what a lot of times, the individuals that are providing the donation, for instance, what did you call it, the Buddha? They are associated directly with that group, and because they have parents or they have patrons that are out there, they're very passionate about that, and they see a need. Because there's limited finite budget that's there, but they
Right.
have a need that they see that can be fulfilled. So a lot of times, the sponsors may have an event planned for it, they have the expenditure already there, but they're having conversations about instruments or an event or a participation or a membership that would go above and beyond. So we are extremely, extremely appreciative
Yes.
of the gracious donations that our individual groups of students can get from the community. So yes, sir, very, very appreciative.
Thank you, Dr. Freer.
All right. Investment report, we earned a total of $218,120.53 for general bond and debt services. And is there any other questions about board reports?
Board, anybody has any miscellaneous business office report? Do we have any comments on that? Okay. Now, consideration of gifts and donation over $2,500.
Yes, this is on page 69, and we received a donation of land from Mr. Anderson.
Dr. Trujillo, you have any addition on that?
No, my understanding is the land parcel, want to speak to it a little bit so that the board would know exactly. Anytime you get a donation, it's always good, donation of land is good, but you also know that donation of land also comes with other things that you need to be aware of. So, Mr. LaRue.
Good afternoon, board members, superintendent. The land in question is directly across from our warehouse on Cox Street. It's about a half acre, a little bit more than a half acre, 0.59 of an acre. The Anderson family is cleaning up their estate and their vast holdings of property, and they have a little nuisance piece of property to them that just happens to be right across the street from our warehouse. Long-term benefit to us would be, once we get it, it's got a few trees on it, but we clear that off, it'd be a perfect place for parking of tractor trailers, things of that nature, which come in and out of the warehouse. So it would be very beneficial to the district.
Curiosity, any tax, they do any tax on it, or?
No, everything's been paid
Clear.
for. Yeah.
And that letter that he sent, was that basically just saying that we get it as it is, and if we find any problems, then they're not accountable?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
You know, the water is also considered as a part of minerals, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Now, Boys and Girls Club Superintendent, Dr. Trujillo.
President Fashid and Board, we have a relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. The pool rental fee is paid yearly by to the Boys and Girls Club of Nacogdoches and provides Nacogdoches High School with a swim program access to the pool where they practice and hold their meets. So the budget impact is about $40,000 for the general fund. And the board, what we're recommending is the board approve the payment for the Boys and Girls Club for the amount of $40,000. I'll entertain any questions you may have.
And that's a one-year contract.
Yes, sir.
We could not go beyond that.
Well, it's, we don't want to go 1 year beyond that. We will go the 1 year. We are looking at working with the Boys and Girls Club and we need to also have a conversation. There's some things there that we want to make sure that our kids and parents have access to for the best service that we can have.
Great. Okay, next one, we have a commercial kitchens. Again, Ms. Lisa, which is,
Yes, the RFP committee recommends using commercial kitchen to replace the serving line at Margie Chumley Academy for Success Cafeteria using nutrition funds. Any questions?
no, I don't. Anyone has any comments and questions? Okay. Next, move into purchase of over 25,000.
Yes, the nutrition would also like to replace one of their vehicles using Tipton Ford to purchase that vehicle. Any questions?
I don't have any. Okay. Now, Golf Course Recreation, presenter would be Ms. Kimberly Welsh, Assistant Superintendent.
Yes, Fredonia is requesting the purchase to expand the existing playground at Fredonia Early Childhood by adding 2 additional playground sets. Each playground set will align to the pre-K standards for gross motor, which is large muscle, and fine motor, small muscle development. The quote includes the purchase and the installation of both playgrounds. And the recommendation is that the board approve the purchase of the playground equipment and installation from Gulf Coast Recreation in the amount of $212,380.44.
Okay, my question is, the purchase of this, do we have, if there's problems that go wrong with those, with the playground and stuff, are we gonna have some kind of guarantee that they'll come and take care of it, or is once we pay for it, it's done and over with?
Once again, what's the question?
Well, my question is, if we're gonna buy this and have them put it up, do we get a warranty with them if something happens to it, or, you know, because the ground settles, all that kind of stuff that goes on, will we have a guarantee that they'll come out and take care of it, or will
I think
we
they
have to be
typically
responsible?
will, Mr. LaRue can speak to that, but typically when you do the purchase, they'll have a time frame that's there, but we'll hear it straight from Mr. LaRue.
Hello again. Yes, this is the same company that we use for the playground installation at the New Carpenter and also at Mike Moses and also at Fredonia when it first opened up. So we've got a good working relationship with them. They'll give us a year's warranty on labor and parts and materials.
Okay. Thank you.
How quickly are we, once we approve this, how quickly will it be?
They could probably start work over Christmas break.
Great.
We would hope. Probably couldn't get it finished over Christmas break.
No,
It'd be a
no,
lot, but
just-
maybe I would get some of the concrete work done, and then that way, as soon as school's out, they could come in, or maybe again over spring break.
Great.
I think this is wonderful foresight, wonderful planning, and our students and our teachers will benefit by all these things that are coming about. That spreads them out in the playground. They get to do things that they want to do and they don't have to wait in line. So they maximize their physical activity. This is a win-win for psychomotor in the 3 domains.
Principal Z has
I
headed
saw
this
him.
up and done all the legwork and got everything headed that way.
He told me about that before the meeting.
Mr. LaRue, can you share with the board, because the playgrounds are not like they used to be.
No.
You can't just come up, pour some concrete, dig a hole, and put the poles in there. Can you talk to them about why couldn't it be ready in time, because it's a little exhausting with the safety measures that they put in place.
As Dr. Welch pointed out, these are, one, very specific to age groups, so that's a big advantage to the new style playgrounds. But they also have a fall zone, which is critical. We also kept the height of the equipment, the deck height, the highest feature, 6 feet or below. Because frankly, if you get above 6 feet and you take a fall, if a child takes a fall, it's very difficult to protect them, even with the new fall zones. So preparing the surface and getting the fall zone and doing the installation is a lengthy process.
To the board also, so you're aware, and to the community, the funding mechanism for the playground is coming out of ESSER funds. One of the things that there's stipulations when it comes to the expenditures for ESSER. Some of the things that are directly correlated to that. And a lot of it deals with space and availability to put kids out there and spread them out from each other, so that when they're interacting in play, if you see the current playground, it's a little cluster. They're just clustered all together in the middle of the playground. This allows us to maximize the space. This is why we're utilizing our ESSER funds. And this is a one-time expense. It's not something that's reoccurring in a commitment. So this board will not come back together in a year or 2 years to replace this. This is something that will be there for years to come, and generations of pre-K students that will be able to enjoy it. So this is also utilizing the forethought of utilizing our ESSER funds. Now remember, ESSER funds was not something that Mr. Z just got up there and said, hey, I want to spend the money. We still have a committee of folks that sit down, they prioritize, they look at expenditures and justification. So kudos to Mr. Z. He went in there and he did a justification as to why this was a need, and that's why you're looking at a little over $200,000 of an investment when it comes to the playground equipment. To the community that's out there, you might say, boy, this is high. It is. For the same reason that Mr. LaRue is talking about, is this is not normal playground equipment. It's age appropriate. And when the kids come off or they fall off the playground, not trying to be humorous, but we want them to bounce. We don't want to hear the thud there. So there's a lot of, if you'll see the new playground equipment, it's not just what we've done in the past. It's changed a lot to make sure that the kids are safe on and throughout the playground equipment. So thank you, Mr. LaRue.
And I'm glad to see that it's a fully accessible play system. There's part of it that
Yes.
is geared toward accessibility for all of our kids.
I'm sure it meets all the safety of OSHA. Otherwise, they would not sell it. Okay. Next is EPIC. Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Marvin Tarvin.
Yes, sir. Thank you. As you all are aware, the Texas Education Agency adopted new safety requirements for campuses and schools this past year. Part of these requirements include the use of force-resistant entry film. And so if you'll take a look at your sheet here, it says, I wanted to give you exactly what they said. Except when inside an exterior secure area, all windows that are adjacent to the exterior door and are of a size and position that, if broken, could easily permit an individual to reach in and open the door from the inside shall be constructed or modified such as the glass cannot be easily broken. It also says, except when inside an exterior secure area, all ground level windows near exterior doors that are the size and position that permits entry from the exterior, if broken, shall be constructed or modified such as the glass cannot be easily broken and allow an intruder to enter through the window frame. For example, using force-resistant entry film. And so I'm coming to the board asking for you all to approve this purchase. It is $171,717.35, and it will come out of our formula safety grant that we have received.
I have a question. So we're not actually changing the size of the window?
No, sir.
Okay, this is just a protector.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
wait, Mr. Tarvin, let's not engage too much conversation with regards to this. If there's a need, I will entertain this in executive session. To the community, I have an obligation for the safety and security of all kids and all staff. I do not want to talk about safety and security plans that we have in the community and in the public. I want to make sure that all of our students and folks are the bad actors that are out there. All they have to do is listen to our conversation and know exactly how to breach our building. I do not want that out there with our folks. So just entertaining the fact that we are asking for the funding. If we have additional questions, we will be more than happy to provide that in an executive session so we can provide a little bit more details.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have...
Should we move that to the consent agenda?
It is. It is.
It is.
It is, okay.
Yes. Okay, next we have consideration of a campus target improvement plan. Again, is Dr. Kimberly West.
Yes, this is regarding the targeted improvement plan for Brooks Quinn Jones for 2022 state and federal academic accountability. Brooks Quinn Jones Elementary was identified as a comprehensive support improvement CSI campus and is required to participate in the Texas Education Agency Guided Interventions for School Improvement. They have developed and implemented a targeted improvement plan, which we call the TIP, and they've already submitted their plan to TEA, and we are asking that the board approve their campus targeted improvement plan for Brooks Quinn Jones Elementary, which is attached. And they are in their second year with this.
Anyone has any question?
I have something to say. It was 34 pages. I read most of it. It was very detailed. Y'all have worked very hard, and Principal Wilson has signed there, and you've signed there. There's a lot of people signed their name to this, and that's what we're doing when we pass this. This is very important. The words that stuck out, it says, we have ambitious goals. That is great. That is great. This benefits our students and our teachers. And the other thing that says, we are working on it. That means we're doing something now. And that's very important to know, that we're doing something today and tomorrow and the next day. And so sometimes we get caught up in all this formula stuff that you've got to do with the real needs of the children in the classroom and improving each one day by day. So we're not just jumping through hoops, we're helping students. And we're very ambitious with our goals, and we're already working on it. And thank you so much.
We so appreciate you recognizing the hard work that Ms. Wilson and her staff have done at Brooks Quinn Jones. Thank you.
Now, I'm going to say something. It sounds negative, so I'm going to start with the positive. I have two different families that are friends who have children who, in the last 2 years, have recently been transferred to Brooks Quinn Jones, and they came from schools not in NISD, that they had chosen to not have their child in NISD and had horrible problems. And so now each of these families have a child at Brooks Quinn Jones, and I'm hearing nothing but praise at how their child's needs are being met. And that's just really good to hear, because these other schools pretty much were like, we can't help this child, lock them up or something. Anyway, okay, now to the negative. When I was reading the plan, and of course it's almost a no-brainer that you're going to continue to work on aligning lesson plans and assessments and instructional materials and that sort of thing. Brooks Quinn Jones is the campus that had Fontes and Pinnell for one semester. You were not principal then, and after one semester, then we spent a lot of money and got this curriculum for our whole district. And then, heard a lot of feedback that it wasn't aligned, but then COVID came in, and after a whole year, we still didn't have all the material, and I think we do now. So this is kind of like a question, but so just hear me through. Okay. Now that we have it all, and we've had some years, is this, because curriculum should come where it is so aligned that a teacher just looks it up, pulls it up on their computer, and the TEKs are there, the lesson plan suggestions and all of that, or are our teachers still having to do that? And I know that's a weeds question, and the only reason I'm bringing it up is, was this a very expensive mistake that the board made? Because if it was, and this curriculum is not the best for our teachers, then we need to know, and we need to fix it. So I don't know if you can answer that, but I just want to put that out there to let you know that I'm very concerned that if we're trying to make something fit with the curriculum that has a lot more work for teachers than it should.
We
So if I can
are
interject
constantly doing return on investment on our investments, and the board makes a yearly decision on the recommendations of the school district with positions on curriculum to facilities and relationships, and we're constantly reevaluating all of that to provide the best opportunity for our kids, but also the tools that we can equip our teachers with. So not being specific to a program, but in every event that we're looking at it and evaluating. We're also restructured our leadership so that we can truly evaluate and really look at the benefits that we have. Not that we were not doing that before. It's that the fact is that now, by having an individual that's working with the elementaries and working with the secondary, we can have a clear line of what are the facts that we're providing. Specifically to the curriculum, you're saying there's opinions with regards to any program that you can get that's out there or any service you provide. The best investment that we can get is how do we equip the teachers? First, getting the best teachers to provide the instruction, but then how do we equip the teachers with the best tools that are out there? This particular curriculum is one that we're evaluating. We're looking at it, just like everything else we've done, but we don't want to just do one and then move on. We've got to do our due diligence to figure out, okay, how are we utilizing it, and it doesn't meet the criteria, are we supplementing it? But also, is it approved by the state? There's a number of things that we have to look at so that we wind up making the best decisions for our folks. So, very valid question, and it's not a bad question. It's not a critical bad question. What you were framing it as that it's a thought-provoking question that we constantly do with all the things. Earlier we talked about a relationship with Boys and Girls Club. That's a great relationship, but can we do better? Can we address that? Every investment that we make as a board is going to be a huge investment, and what we do is, what can we provide our teachers with the support that we have to provide the best need. So without being specific to the programs that we have, that's something that I am working directly with our folks to get to the bottom, so that when we come to the board to make an investment, that we can inform you, and you can ask all the questions as to what's our return on investment for this. And I'm talking about the teachers and the students as we're working through the process. Dr. Welch or Dr. Hill, if there's anything else you'd like to add to that as well. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a clarification, and I appreciate you calling it a program, because Fontes de Pinnell STEM scopes are not curriculums. So when you say what is a curriculum is a written plan. So you start with your state standards, which we are mandated to teach, and then it's the curriculum documents. So for example, we did an overhaul this past year, and we call it our landing page. And so our teachers can access it via Canvas, or actually, ClassLink. And so there is a icon, and so on there you have your 4 core content, which would contain your scope and sequence, an instructional focus document. So that's where your curriculum is. That guides, bundles the text in particular units of study, but then it also embeds instructional materials, which is where Fontes de Pinnell would come in, STEM scopes, Wonders, Haggerty, any of the purchased instructional materials. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
There's a
does.
big misnomer between
Yes.
what is a curriculum, because we
Yes.
often say a
Yeah.
curriculum is our textbook.
No.
Well, a couple of years ago, Ms. Apton, I'm sure you remember this, regardless of the textbook, if you look at the narrative on what publishers had to get endorsed by TEA or SBOE, 50% alignment to any state standards, right? So this past year was very curious. It was as if the state did like this 180, and they came out with their own grading system of resources. And one of those happened to be a textbook called Wonders, which I believe the author is McGraw-Hill.
Yes,
You
it
can go
is.
to a lot of states across the nation, and you will find the exact same test book, but Texas gave it a 100% alignment to the state standards. Now, I've not done a deep analysis of it, but we do use it for phonics. So back to your point of instructional materials, there is not a single product that's going to cover everything to the depth and the transfer that we need. So at the time, we went with the recommendation to purchase Fontes and Pinnell. It was a very big purchase. It has a lot of components. So with the curriculum documents, and we took the curriculum audit to heart, and we took their advice and our findings and the recommendations of what we needed to provide our teachers to give them the exact direction. So to your point, they didn't have to go out and hunt for additional things. Now, as we've looked at our data, because we use our student data to evaluate our written curriculum, right? You use, because you've got to have an alignment between the written, taught, and tested. So we use our tested curriculum to evaluate our written, and we realized that our phonemic awareness was lacking. So we brought in Heggerty, which was an additional expense, and we understand that. Then we realized phonics. We needed to beef up phonics. So we already had Wonders in our tool belt, so we've brought it back. So we have slowly been looking at our data, but that's with any instructional material that you would purchase. You look at how are students performing?
Right.
And then you look at, okay, does that mean we have a misalignment somewhere between the written, taught, and tested? And we've got to figure out which of those three variables we've got to pinpoint. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
And between you
Yes.
and Dr. Trujillo, I hope the public the part of the public that's been very concerned about this have heard your answers, because you've said exactly what I was hoping you'd say.
Sure.
Especially the tendency to blame or credit a single program.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's just crazy.
It is.
There's so much, and because I've heard a lot that it's because of, and it can't just be one thing. And so anyway, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Dr. Welch, anything you want to add to it?
Yes, I'd like to also just add, I think they hit the nail on the head of exactly what a curriculum means. And programs are always designed for California, Texas, and Florida. We are the three states that programs designed for because we're the three largest producing and consumers of their products. So just like Dr. Hill said, there's going to be this 100% alignment, and then we can go to Virginia, find them using the exact same product, and it looks identical. That's why you can sign up on their website, and you can use their online resources. Those online resources aren't just for Texas. The online resources are for that program, which is intended for the masses. And our goal is always to invest in our teachers. We want to build teacher capacity. We want to build teacher autonomy. And the program is just the vehicle that is used. And Fontes and Pinnell is the gold standard. It was the Cadillac. Can we do better? Maybe we can, and we can do better with our professional development. And we have already put out a survey with all of our English language arts teachers. We just got our thought exchange back of what their thoughts are, how we can improve ELA in the elementary. So we understand that we have to look at what program best supports our teachers' knowledge base and skills of where they are, and because we want them to have the tools necessary to move forward. But by no means was it a mistake of public funds to use.
Thank you.
I wanted to wipe the egg off my face. This is not 34 pages. I was so engrossed, it seemed like 34 pages. This targeted improvement plan is 118 pages. That's the scope of this document. So that makes it even more wonderful that y'all are in progress and with ambitious goals.
President Fashid, if I may add one item that we want to make sure that the community hears. The Fontes and Pinnell, whether it's sanctioned, not sanctioned by the state, we're making sure that whatever we're doing, it provides the best tool for our teachers. What we need to realize is, in Austin, okay, there are suggestions of what and how we should teach our children, okay? But here in Nacogdoches, we're going to make that determination for our students. based on our teachers, based on our impact that we have. So you can read, and I'm talking to the community, you can read that there's literature that's going to say that Fontes and Pinnell does not meet the need. But if you notice, we are looking at other items that are there. However, the one key that I want to make sure to make it better for our teachers is, can we find the best tool that they can provide so that they don't have to go to so many places? We still are going to have to look for that. And it may be in mathematics, it may be in science, it may be in every content area. Our goal is to find the best tool that we can provide our folks. But also, we've got to give it time to build. Because not long ago, I asked Dr. Hill, all I did was ask a couple questions, and I was asking questions about NIHOuse and some other curriculums that we have. And what's amazing is we've done a lot in Nacogdoches. We've done a tremendous amount, but we haven't done it to the length of fidelity and commitment to figure out what's the return on investment that we have. So you are hearing us in this conversation that, number one, it was not a mistake in going this direction. However, we are going to be open to what is it that we need to do to improve the outcome for our students. And if it is transitioning from this, then we will have a plan for transitioning from this. If it's continuing to supplement and to enhance and to embolden it, then we're going to look at those opportunities. But those decisions are going to be made within the boundaries of Nacogdoches ISD. We will look and make sure that we follow the guidance of the Texas Education Agency and the instruments that they give us. But we have to make sure that those decisions are being made here and making sure that we know what we're providing for our teachers and listen to our teachers to see what are they providing them with the support and the training. It wasn't long ago, 12 months ago, we were waiting for things to still be arriving. So things have arrived, we're continuing to support, we're going to look at it, and there's opinions about this, and there's also outcomes that say that you can't be using this curriculum. Well, if we are, what are we supplementing, what are we providing for those areas that are not providing a robust system? That's what we want to do, but we want to make sure that we can provide that for our teachers in a holistic approach. So I didn't want the community to hear that we're going to grab this bull by the horns and we're going to take it and ride it all the way through. No, we're looking at it, and like any other program that we have, to provide and embolden our teachers. The curriculum for the state of Texas is the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills.
That's right.
That is our curriculum.
That's right.
And now, how do we teach the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills with the tools that we have? And we'll move forward with the direction, but not without the will of the board in making those big decisions. So, no, not a mistake that was made with regards to it. We made the best decision with the information that we had. Now we continue to move forward to continue to make better opportunities for our kids. So, thank you.
Well, hopefully, though, also, the public will hear this, that constant evaluation, and that's important. And also, those of the public who have been around for a long time, they should also be comforted to know that even though you're constantly reevaluating and looking to see where there are holes and stuff, you're also not just going to throw it out the window and not try to use it to its fullest potential. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Now, next, we're moving to consideration of a Margie Chumley Academy for Success roofing project. Dr. Trujillo?
Yes, I'm going to have Mr. LaRue step up and give us some details, but the district accepted a proposal for re-roofing in Marty Chumley Academy to finalize the remaining section of the roof, and the attached bid is from Renault Roofing, and I'd like to hand it over to Mr. LaRue.
Hello again. Self-explanatory, we're finishing out a roof project we started on last year. This half of the building had some skylights, and we weren't quite sure of how we were going to handle them. We're going to keep 4 of them, get rid of 2 of them, and this will finish off that roof. It'll be with the same company that did the first half, also be the same product, so we have warranties that match. So there's only one manufactured roof on there.
Any question?
Oh, I have questions. Of course. Okay, so I'm looking at this thing, and it's $148,500 for the entire project. And then it goes to say A&E design fees of $10,395. What are they designing?
The roof specifications, the membrane, the insulation that's underneath the roof, and the skylight adaptations.
And then the other allowance and soft cost of $15,000, and down below it says for possible roof deck problems. So if there's not any roof deck problems, is that $15,000 still going to have to be paid?
No, that's
Okay.
returned back to the district.
Okay, thank you.
Any more question? Okay, thank you.
Mr. LaRue, if you just stick around.
One more.
Yes.
And this is it. Unless you ask me back.
Okay, next we go to consideration of a fire alarm dash intercom replacement project. Again, Dr. Trujillo.
Yes, sir. Once again, the recommendation is to replace and upgrading our fire alarm system. However, I'm going to punt to Mr. LaRue.
All right, Brooks Quinn Jones, Regay Elementary, and then up to high school. We've already done most of that Hilltop, but we did not get to the field house or the weight room. So those systems, fire safety, life safety, can upgrade those systems. Also at Regay and BQJ, this will include an upgrade of the public address system and the bell system, which will make principals happy, happier.
I have a comment, not a question. When I was reading it, it said it meets the minimum requirement. I don't like the word minimum. Can we say it meets all the prescribed?
It meets code, but it is the minimum code.
Yeah,
When you open up that code book,
right,
it's deep, it's big.
right.
There are things we could add, bells and whistles.
Right.
And really neat things that occupied schools that have adults in them, managing the students, just don't need. Those kids are not in the building alone. When the fire alarm rings, we're there. So we can deal with them.
God forbid, if something happened, somebody could accuse us of the minimum. Just put required. Am I making sense?
It is, however, to the point of what Mr. LaRue's talking about, give you an example of a fire alarm system and the security system. There are some things that are put out in the market that we just can't do. And for example, a video intercom system. Well, the only place you can put a video is, by code, is in a special education room. But in a regular classroom, you wouldn't put cameras that are monitoring that environment. So you can get some bells and whistles where it does facial recognition, and I mean, you can really blow this up to getting some really big things when it comes to an intercom system, an intrusion and entering to the building, apps that can function and be launched from your phone. There's all kinds of things are there, but I see what Coach Fashid is saying whenever we say minimum.
Yeah.
It draws an attention to say, well, what, we're just doing duct tape baling wire. And to the community, I can assure you, this is not duct tape baling wire. The principal is going to be excited that she's going to be able to interact with the entire facility, in addition to the annex portion of your campus, which sometimes causes a little frustration in communicating back and forth. So, but absolutely, Coach, with a minimum can cause folks to think that we're doing duct tape baling wire.
My choice of word would be meets required prescribed.
Okay.
Prescribed. That's my,
Where did you see them?
We use
read the
this
whole
company,
thing.
Universal Time Equipment Company now, right?
Yeah, and that's
The
the
whole
other
thing says-
really, really big deal about this. This now puts, 3 years ago, we were with 5 different alarm companies.
Oh, my goodness.
And that just happens because of new construction and that somebody gave you the low bid and that's who you took. And it wasn't a company you were working with, but it was such a good deal, you took it. Well, we had 5 different alarm companies. It was a real headache for plant service staff and for the fire department and for the police department. And who do we need to talk to, who do we call, who do we schedule? This way, it's all one company. It really helped us.
That's great.
This company does not have an A with the Better Business Bureau. It is an A+.
They're a very good company. We use them quite a lot.
So we're getting good people taking care of
Yeah.
our students and our teachers
Yeah.
and what we have to physically take care of.
And they
And
provide
this-
us very good service.
Good choice and good price.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I always tell my students, if you apply for the job and needs recommendation, make sure that job is not minimum wage. Okay, now we're to discussion and action agenda. We have 5 items on the discussion and action portion of the agenda today, starting with consideration of annual school district audit report for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Yes, the auditors will be here on Thursday, but there's a few things I wanted to point out. The audit starts on page 139 of your board book, but we will start on page 149. The second paragraph that starts, in our opinion, I wanted just to summarize this paragraph that said that we did a good audit. The next page is 168. And if you'll just bear with me.
Did you have that?
On the very top, it looks like we have very little cash. The reason for this is we try to keep as little as possible in cash, so all of our investments to earn the most interest as possible. At the bottom, where it says construction and capital expenditures, this is all the funds that we've been taking out of fund balance this year. I want to point out that these were assigned construction projects that we had planned previously. And then if you go to 172 of your board book, at the bottom, the 9.8 million transferred out is for what we took out for future construction projects. Also, you'll see that our fund balance went down 3.6 million, ending in 42.9 million, which is very good. If you go to page 255, I wanted to point out the second paragraph that says, in our opinion, the district complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements required to the above that could have a district or material effect on each of its major federal programs for the year ending June 30th of 2023. Page 261. You'll see where it says unmodified, which is what we want in both of those categories. Also, it shows that we had 0 audit findings. On page 270, I wanted to point out that our child nutrition fund balance is excessive, which has been the case for the past few years. I did want to point out that if you go back to page 245, it shows that she spent all planned funds that we had planned. We had some labor shortages, which caused the growth of her fund balance. And then on 247, it shows that our debt service fund balance was increased by a little over $1 million. And the last thing I'm going to point out is on page 160, which I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth, but it says the general fund's remaining fund balance of $29 million is unassigned and exceeds 3 months of the general fund's current financial year's expenditures. Any questions? And that's in paragraph 2, if you wanted to find what I was just reading.
Board, y'all have any questions? Okay. Next, we move to consideration to finalize purchase of real property located at Klein Drive. Dr. Trujillo?
President Fashid and Board, at the September 21st, 2023 meeting, the Board voted to initiate the purchase of the property as discussed in closed session and authorized myself to negotiate for the contract under the terms addressed and return the contract to the Board considering consent with policy CHG. Attached is the final contract on Klein Drive property. Lot 1, which is basically 9.68 acres, including ownership of the private street known as Klein Drive, would be transferred also to Nacogdoches Independent School District. The Board approved the purchase. That's the recommendation that the school district is making of the 9.68 acres located in Klein Drive, Nacogdoches, Texas, including the private street known as Klein Drive, described as attached property in the amount of $750,000. I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Board, any questions?
I don't have a question, I just have a statement. I don't know about y'all, but I was shocked at how much our insurance went up last year. I mean, shocked. But we had water damage in Snowvid at BQJ. We had water damage last December at the band hall at the high school. We had water damage at the DSC. Well, part of the purpose of all this, besides providing for what we need in our overall plan, is to get a plan to stop the damage to our DSC from water damage, and we have to have a place to put that water, and in purchasing this land, that goes in there, and I'm sure Dr. Trujillo will go into that, but that's a very important thing, that we don't cause problems with our neighbors. And there are other safety factors that this brings to point, but this is a purchase with foresight, with growth in our district and use of the buildings that will be at this location.
Dr. Trujillo, you want to make more comment?
No, sir, it's exactly what Mr. Grom was talking about. That's only one portion of it, because we do have the facility that's going to house about 300 individuals, and we don't have sufficient parking that's there. We also want to be good neighbors. We have a brand-new doctor's office that's at the top of the hill. Ms. Holly and myself have had conversations about that. It's kind of an overflow parking lot now for the medical folks that are parking down in that property. So it's kind of congested in that space that's there. It allows us to be good neighbors with not just water damage, but also to accommodate the need for our teachers for the training facility, and they're able to accommodate. It's 300 people. If every one of them brought their car, I don't know where we'd park. We'd be at Walmart walking across the street and down the block if we did that. So that's just another segment of it. The other is that we do need a space when the construction begins on the proposed plan. So we've got to have a staging area for all the equipment and for schools to continue to operate. So that one segment, but it's so multifaceted in so many different directions for us. So, thank you.
Board, do you want to put this on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Any comments? Next is the first reading of revised local policy CH purchasing accusations. Dr. Trujillo?
All righty. Which one is, where are, I'm sorry. I digressed.
Reading of a revised local policy CH purchasing and accusations.
Yes, sir. This one here is, the existing policy states that the single budgeted purchase of goods and services that cost $25,000 or more shall require board approval before transitions may take place. The revision that we're requesting is that the policy be modified, that the threshold at any single budget purchase of goods and services that cost $50,000 or more shall require board approval before the transaction may take place. The request that we're making for this is the cost of goods and services. Everything has come up with regards to purchasing any of the items that we have. $50,000 is a pretty average number that we look across the board, across the state, that allows us to come to the board with anything that's $50,000 or greater for budget approval. I think we've got A+ ratings that we've had. We've demonstrated some tremendous accountability and responsibility with the budgets that we have, and we're asking the board to entertain moving this to $50,000 for any budget approval that we may present to the board. I'll entertain any questions that anybody may have with that, so.
I guess during the last meeting, Ms. Lisa explained to the extreme detail that the benefit, because what we need to receive a purchase, we can get it much faster so it can be used quicker.
Absolutely. The once-a-month board meeting, when you have it and you're waiting to get to acquire that product, by the time you get delivery and by the time you make your purchase and you get your delivery and then you disperse it to your staff, whatever that may be, it can go up to 2-3 months out. And rather than doing that, we're talking about, most times it'll be curriculum and instruction in those. Now, we're talking big purchases when we're talking about technology you can't get technology a lot of times for an entire district for under $50,000. Any construction, any of the big items that the district has to do, we really want the board to be involved with all of those conversations that are there. So that's why we're asking. Lisa did a great job during the board training to review that to the board and ask you for that, because as we're aligning ourselves to the strategic plan and the direction that we're looking at, that gives us a little bit of an adjustment there with the $50,000.
Board is approved? Agreed?
I'll take any questions, sir.
I have something to add. It also allows us to, it's hard to spend federal funds at the end of the year when we have to bring it to the board, because we have to spend it and receive the product in our hand by a certain date. And pushing that number higher will allow us to buy at least a little bit smaller items with those federal funds. Because we have had it in the past that we've had to change it to local funds because we didn't get the product in time. And it's because, some of the reasons was because it had to go to the board for approval.
So complicated.
Okay. Board, you all want to move that to consent agenda as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next is cast votes for the candidate for the Nacogdoches County Central Appraisal District Board of Directors. And at the September 21st, 2023 board meeting, the board approved the resolution nominating trustees Reverend James Irvin and Ms. Mindy Winslow to be listed on the official ballot serving for Nacogdoches County Central Appraisal District Board of Directors for the term of 2 years, starting with January 2024. Nacogdoches ISD has been given 1,955 votes, and it is recommended that the votes be split among the Nacogdoches ISD nominees as following. Reverend James Irvin receives 977.5 votes, and Mindy Winslow, 977.5 votes as well. Okay, I need a motion to be approved.
Well, this is.
Oh, this is an action agenda, we have to do it. Okay, very good.
So
Now,
we
next,
could move this to the action?
that,
Can we move this to action? Yeah. Consent.
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 I mean,
that's what-
consent.
Yeah, that's what I asked.
Yes.
Okay. Next is a consideration of the revision to the Board Operating Procedures Manual, page 297. Again, during the Lone Star Governance Workshop held on October 27, 28, 2023, the following revisions were suggested for the Board Operating Procedures Manual. Page 11, addition to the following on the Section 5, citizen or employee requests/complaints to individual board members. It responds as concern and complaints involving school-related issues may be directed to the NISD Parent and Patron Assistance Center. Okay? On page 14, addition to the following to section 13, role and authority of the board members and the board officers. B items would be, if a board member is unable to attend a meeting, they shall inform the board president prior to the meeting start time. And item E would be, no board members shall give or appear to give operational advice. Okay? Any comments?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Can we alter, edit that if a board member is unable to attend a meeting, he or she shall inform the board president? Could we do that, please, for my sanity?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Instead of an English teacher.
Any more questions or comments?
life I live.
Can we move this to the consent agenda as well? Okay, it's done. Okay, great.
Don't we have to read this twice, don't we?
Nope,
No, this
No.
is local.
No, okay.
I just read it once. If you want, I can read it for you. Now, did you say come back before one?
President Fashid, real quick, just a point of clarification, if you allow me,
Sure.
to the board. A statement was made that our insurance rate went up because of water damage. Yes, that was portion of it, but I was looking at some information because of, we've acquired some property, if you think about this. We took down Martin Building, which we still had to carry insurance for the remainder, even though it's gone now. Fredonia is no longer there, but we still had to carry insurance for Fredonia. And on top of it all, we added Carpenter.
You mean Carpenter?
You mean Carpenter's?
Carpenter and, yeah, I'm sorry, Carpenter, old Carpenter is down, but we had to carry insurance with it. Martin Building was up, we took that down, we still had to carry insurance. Fredonia, even though it's not occupied, old Fredonia, not Fredonia, Nettie Marshall, is not occupied, we still have to carry insurance with that. And on top of it all, we added Carpenter, the new building that we've added. In addition to that, we also have the new DSC. So if you dive into the insurance, and Dr. Groman is correct, it had gone up, but I didn't want anybody out there to say, my gosh, that's a lot of water damage. No, there was an insurance rate that went across the board that needed to happen. Also, the long overdue update on property values. That was also designed, and so that makes an adjustment. So just a point of clarification for the community as they're looking at this, gives them an idea as to what we're looking at when it comes to the insurance. And so thank you for allowing me to clarify that.
Sure. Okay. The board now will conduct an executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provisions of Texas Open Meeting Act and allowed by Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.0.129. No voting will take place in a closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as a result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes in open session. It's now time 1:04, and we should be back by 1:30.
Absolutely.
Okay? board is now reconvening into open session. The time is 1:39 PM. Need a motion?
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Okay.